Hello, friends. Welcome to Lawyers Info Hub. I'm glad to be here. Hope you're keeping safe. Hope you're fine. It's a privilege to create content for you. Lawyers Info Hub is a platform where I use to reach out to lawyers, law students, people who are interested in law. I share legal tips, we discuss law issues, I share life experiences, all aimed at ensuring that people can learn and become better in their practice. Today, we're going to discuss a very important issue, and I have wonderful people with me as guests in this platform today. So, we're going to look at the Twitter ban in Nigeria. We're going to look at the legal perspectives to it. So, friends, sit back and work as we engage you in this topic, bringing out the vital issues and the silent issues that are involved with respect to what is happening in our country, in Nigeria. So, friends, if you're a returning subscriber, I really appreciate you. Thank you for always stopping by to this channel to watch the content I create, to watch the videos, to like them, to drop in your comments. I appreciate you. And for you who are just watching this video for the first time, I have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, share this video and like it, because I know that you will learn something from what we are discussing today. So friends, let's hit it rolling. I have with me Barrister James. Barrister James Wayan is a legal practitioner who is based in Enugu State, and I have Barrister Casey Iberi, who is also a legal practitioner based in Owerri. We're expecting more guests, but as time goes on, they might join us. But let's proceed with our guests today. So, friends, you're all welcome. James, you're welcome. Casey, you are welcome. I appreciate you. Yeah, thank you for honoring
Thank
this
you very much.
invitation. Yeah,
Thank you,
for
Mercy.
honoring.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
God bless
much.
you. Yeah, very
Yeah.
grateful. So let me
Thank
start
you,
with
Mercy.
you. Let me start with you, James. Um, when the president's tweet was deleted, what came to your mind when you saw
First
that
of all,
news of what came to your mind? Yes.
first of all, I will just be very honest with you. I felt
Yeah.
it was the right thing to do,
Okay.
um, given that the rules of the platform did not permit certain class of statements.
Okay.
Now, if the president's tweet fell inside the category of statements which offended the rules of the platform, just
Okay.
like every other individual who was operating the account, it was
Okay.
Muhammad Buhari as Muhammad Buhari, not the president of Nigeria.
Nigeria. Okay.
Now, so Muhammad Buhari's tweet was deleted. And this wasn't the first time an influential person's tweet was removed. So I felt
Okay.
like just like my account or my tweet could be deleted or my
Okay.
post could be removed, his tweet was also removed. So I felt it
Okay.
was normal, not sticking to the rules of the app or the rules of the
Okay.
platform on which he was tweeting. I didn't feel it should call for the uproar which we had. I felt it was normal. It should be what, like they say, what is good for the goose should also be good for the
Good for the
gander.
journey.
If you
Okay.
offended the rules of the app, then the rules should be actually applied in your case. And that was what was done.
Okay.
We saw that incidents come up with tweets from President of the United States of America, and heaven did not fall. So it wasn't a new
So
issue. It shouldn't have been a big deal like we made it. So
okay.
I felt it was just the rules being applied and nothing
Apply.
more.
Okay. Yeah. So, by Casey, when you saw that news flash that Twitter removed the tweet of the president, what got to your mind? What was it that you felt? You know, considering the relationship that our country has with the outside world, and that we are still a developing country. What was in your mind when you heard that?
Okay, referring to me, yeah, because you broke for some minutes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the thing is, You say considering the relationship we have with the outside country, yeah, what was my
Yeah,
mindset about? Good.
yeah,
Now the thing is, there is something that most people have seen a lot of views on this issue, and there's something that most people fail to understand. You know, the Twitter didn't just delete the president's posts like
okay,
on their own. You get, that post was actually reported countless, like incessantly, because you know, people say a lot of trash on Twitter, yeah, but at some point, with millions of tweets. I think Nigeria alone has over 32 million subscribers. That's to show you that it's not as if Twitter goes to look at all the tweets and like see if it follows their guidelines. Not some, a lot of Nigerians were very offended by that post, because it was a post that this post was during a period whereby a part of Nigeria were mourning, or we are not, I won't call it mourning, we are remembering persons they lost during the civil war, and
even
their
war,
wounds
yeah,
at that point were
we're
fresh,
still
and
fresh.
you now reminded them that you dealt decisively with them in the past, and that you can willingly do same thing. So a lot of people, like, there was like a plethora of reporting on that particular post that got Twitter's attention. So sometimes when you hear the federal government and the representative talk about these things, you look at them as so ridiculously annoying, because the truth is that Nigerians actually reported and reported and reported and reported that post to an extent that that post now got Twitter's attention. And when Twitter now
They,
understood what they meant, because most of
why?
the reports said, okay, this is inconsistent, just like my colleague Mr. James said very rightly. This is inconsistent with your policies, the policies that you have told every person, regardless of your status, to abide by, and
Yeah,
you should take this down. Yeah, and they took it down. So immediately I saw it, I looked at the fact that it wasn't Twitter, and I was like, yes, if they could ban Donald Trump for 22 months, he just deleted the tweet. What? Just the deleting of a tweet. And if you're mindfully, it didn't just happen. It happened like after almost 12 hours. It didn't happen immediately, to show you that they weren't
okay,
even aware that it cost anything. So I like he said, I'm with him too, because it was the right thing to do. So that was just my
okay,
take on it.
yeah. So, James, do you think the government's move has undermined, the rights of Nigerian citizens? The move by the government, has it undermined the rights of Nigerian citizens?
Of course, of course it does. And he actually still do, having not given us the the suspension has not been officially lifted. It did
Okay,
in every way undermine our economic interest, our right to
okay,
press, even our right to receive information and impart knowledge. Now, if you look at what is an issue, it's not just that an app was suspended from operations within the
okay,
internet space called Nigeria. It is that
yeah,
a medium of expression, which our laws allows us to operate, has been
okay,
suspended. So I no longer have access to an app that allows me free information. That if
okay,
anything is going on in this country, you can actually verify it in small time using the internet space. So when the
okay,
president and his presidency came
yeah,
out and said that they have suspended the use of the Twitter app, what they did without knowing was that they were actually telling us that we do not have a right to own a, and operate a platform where we
okay,
can interact with each other as Nigerians. Just like we are talking, you are in Lagos, I'm in Enugu, he's in Norway. Now, this is
yeah,
a platform for
which you
interaction,
can, yeah,
which I am allowed to own, even by the Constitution. I'm allowed to own
okay,
and operate however I want it. Now, he denied me the opportunity to use the app. I could have business meetings, I could have businesses I'm trading online, that only the app is what I have signed up for. Imagine I have 3 million followers on the Twitter app who I regularly visit or deal with or preach to or minister to. You know, I've been shut out completely from reaching them. So shutting me out from reaching my fans, my followers, or whatever that I have done is in a way infringing on my right to first expression, infringing on my right
Okay.
to reach them, share and impart ideas
Okay.
and knowledge and whatever I do with them. That is not a crime in Nigeria. So when he suspended the use of the app, he actually offended both the fundamental rights of the average Nigerian citizen. He have
Okay.
offended the rights of Nigerians elsewhere because the
Mm.
constitution that we're operating is almost in the same tenure with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which allows me the right to expression. It violated every known international law, not just the Nigerian law we are looking at. Because when we look at it, it looks like it's just the constitution that was violated.
Yeah.
It violated every law known in the world and everywhere in the world, which is the right of expression. You know, I had argued somewhere that when a child is born, we want to know if he can talk to be sure that he's alive.
Okay.
Sometimes we go as far as
Yeah.
pinching the baby to ensure that he says
Baby.
something. Now, when you shut the
Yeah.
mouth of that baby from talking, the baby is assumed dead. So, what the president did was killing our right to expression. He stifled our right to express ourselves, which you can look at us in the internet space and say Nigerians are dead. Because, like Casey said, over 440 million Nigerians on the Twitter
Yeah.
app, 40 million Nigerians on the Twitter app were completely
Mm.
cut out from using the
Communication.
internet space. Yes, from imparting
Yeah.
knowledge, receiving knowledge,
That's great.
sending knowledge.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you for
if,
that submission. Yeah,
thank you very
Casey,
much.
I would say that do you think there is an underlying grounds for the action of the government? Do you think the government is not happy about something, an underlying grounds for their action beyond the removal of the president's tweet?
Yes, I have seen opinions on both on
Okay.
the print media, television, and online media that the presidency,
Okay.
in quotes, they are of the opinion that the ban on Twitter it's not just on the isolated case of last maybe a week ago or 2 weeks ago's tweet. That during the
Okay.
NSAS protest, there is this opinion that the Twitter CEO actually retweeted
Jack.
some of the tweets. Yeah, Jack actually retweeted some of the tweets by as regards fundraising for the protest,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
Twitter was a very, very, very good tool because Twitter exposed a lot of things. When somebody is shot, they will like somebody will tweet that we need a doctor. We are so and so and so place. You see, always on Twitter, from
Okay.
Twitter to Instagram, for Facebook. Twitter was like the one on Twitter was very, very viral because Twitter solved
Okay.
issues as at when due. Somebody just collapsed there. We need a doctor. Doctor shows up immediately. That
Yeah.
Twitter was a tool. It was on Twitter that there was this harmony of Nigerians, especially youthful Nigerians, and the government
Yeah.
was chagrined. They were like, oh, so these guys could actually get themselves together, organize themselves,
Yeah.
and actually have a cause. If they can do that as regards SARS and some other things, what is to say that in 2023 they don't get themselves organized? So it's more or less not an underlying thing. Have had opinions that the federal government
Yeah.
felt that the NSAS protest, because of course, the protest at the first 2 weeks wasn't an issue with the federal government. In the third week, some people started taking over the protest, and maybe they started getting infiltrated by some set of persons who might be politically motivated or have their own interest. And in one way or other, the federal government now
Yeah.
tagged the NSAS protest as a source of mutiny or a source of taking over the government or a source of secession. And that Twitter is
Yeah.
sponsoring persons who want to destroy
Such.
or undermine the unity of Nigeria. Yeah. So that is not really underlining because the government is not denying it because they are like Twitter has played a role. So many persons who have spoken on behalf of the government in one way or the other, from lawyers to
Yeah.
ministers and the rest of them, have actually said that Twitter is undermining the peace of Nigeria over the last couple of years, and more so citing the post of the IPOB man Nnamdi Kalu as the fact that he has posted on Twitter several times. Why haven't you deleted them? All those kind of things. So that's just what I feel about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's all well. This argument is on both sides. But now, let's now get to the issue of licensing. James, can you hear me?
I can
Do
hear
you
you.
think it's now imperative for this micro blogging platform to be duly registered and licensed before they can operate now in Nigeria, since they are private companies that are making, great profits? So, do you think, they need to undergo regulation and licensing more in Nigeria?
Uh,
Did you get my
I
question?
Yes, I got your question. I got your question, and
Okay,
let us first of all have a good laugh. Now, you can first,
okay,
before you talk about regulating something, you will be looking at, you have some form of control over the
okay,
entity or the whatever you want to regulate. You can't regulate something that is beyond and outside your control. Now, the Twitter app and some
okay,
of these micro blogging apps, the OTTs and whatever, are not within our control. Let's be very frank. Twitter does not have an office in Nigeria, whether physical,
okay,
a branch, nothing. It does not have a branch office. It does not have its main office in Nigeria. Now, how do you regulate something that is in the cyberspace? Now, some people think when we say, okay, let's just regulate this organization. It doesn't have, even looking at the camera, for instance, it does not have an office in Nigeria. It does not physically do any sort of business in Nigeria. Outside the data you and I buy, we do not have any other business we do with Twitter. We don't have any other business we do with Twitter. What happens is that we buy our cards, we recharge. The people who have businesses with these telecom companies, MTN and the rest, the app is there in the space. We mainly log in, which you are free to log in or not log in. They do not have any physical space. They do not have any physical address. We cannot even control what they do. It's almost impossible to say that we want to regulate them, because when we look at it, you begin to ask yourself, where would you start? We have not been able to properly gather our data of citizens who are even
okay,
subscribed to MTN. When you don't have
yeah,
proper data of how many people are signed up to the MTN network,
okay,
you don't even know how many people that have BVN. If you ask the CBN, they may not have a record. And we now want to
yeah,
regulate Twitter. You know, Now let's look at it. Let me just take one more point before I just leave this issue. Now, if you look at
okay,
this area, we see that a Nigerian company, because for you to regulate these people, you will have some sort of
it's
control. A Nigerian company having a website that you hosted in, let's say, for instance, the US, and
okay,
the what is it called again? The host point could be in another country, and I'm here
it's true,
sending information. How do you
yeah,
regulate this type? Which laws would you apply? Is it the laws of the country where the website is hosted, or where the person who is managing it is, or where the person that is transacting on the site is? Which of
yes,
the laws would you apply in regulating it? And as it stands now, I don't think there is anything we can actually do if we don't even have a proper space. We don't have anything to regulate it. The best we can do is to have an understanding. Tell Twitter, please, when you have contents of this nature, please don't approve it. If it's coming from Nigeria, we cannot regulate what you don't have control over. I've looked
okay.
at it. I
Let
don't
me
know
let
which.
me cut you off here at this point. Casey, do you agree with the point that we don't need to regulate Twitter and other microblogging platforms? These people are making profit. They are private companies. They are utilizing our global space, our cyberspace, and they are making profit. Do you think we need to regulate them or give them a form of licensing before they can operate?
Okay. To be sincere with you, first of all, I want you to understand something. In terms of the word regulation, is not
Okay,
possible. However, there is something you can do, which is the thing about the federal government, which gets me um, like irritated, is the ego. you can dialogue with them, right? You can
Okay.
dialogue with this microblogging agency or company or whatever, sit down,
Okay.
then you can go into a sort of agreement. I would, there's a different,
Amen.
why I said, why I don't use the word regulation is, regulation, like he said, has other legal implications. But when you go into an agreement that, okay, see, listen, we want you in our space, we want you back. However, these are the terms that we want you back. Can we talk? Can this happen? Can this happen? Can this happen? One. Secondly,
Okay.
they say he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. Yeah.
The clean hand. Yes.
Um, for them, for the federal government themselves, it is appalling that a person uses the name of the president to tweet something, and there are no persons to check. Little checks, like these are like elementary steps, man, that these guys in
Yes.
politics consume billions of this country's resources in terms of salaries and thereof. So in
Allowances.
one way or other, getting allowances, getting someone to at least check what you post, have like an understanding with Twitter. This is okay. Twitter says, okay, this is what we want, this is what we want from you. Have like an agreement. This is what we want, this is what we expect. These are the kind of things that we don't want. We feel that this is undermining us. Okay, fine. If you feel this is undermining you, okay, we could restrict this and allow Twitter to operate on the space, because you are depriving a lot of people, not just about their right to freedom of expression, but you're now depriving them of their right to earn a living. There are people who physically, because of the insecurity in the country, have
Yeah.
who have businesses, can no longer do advertisement online, offline. They can no longer
Yeah.
display their wares or whatever they sell on offline. Their only tool of communication is online. You can see Adeboye,
Yes.
the what they call it, the paragon of Redeemed Christian Church of God, was making them understand that he needs to communicate to his people. And this is the tool he uses to communicate, to tell them, okay, we'll have revival so and so day, we'll have a meeting so and so day. Now, his people are beyond Nigeria. So why tell him that he cannot even tweet? I know you've not even talked about prohibition, but let me just stop at there, because as regards the prohibition too, basically,
Yes.
I feel that Twitter made one mistake. I was very objective with you. The
Yeah.
tweet that Twitter sent immediately after they were banned was wrong, right? It was wrong in all ramifications, yeah. And why I said it was wrong in all ramifications was that Twitter said that they don't know who your country. We don't know your country. We don't know we don't know about whatever is happening. But we saw something. To be sincere with you, you can't say that over 40 million subscribers from a country, over 200 million people using your platform.
Mhm.
You just carelessly say we don't know. That was rude. I'll be very, very candid and sincere
Yeah.
with you. Despite the fact I know that the federal government is wrong, we have to look at it objectively. That was a
Holistically.
very, very careless statement, and I didn't expect that statement from Twitter. Are you getting it? So, in one way or the other, because of that, to some extent, I know Twitter has even come out a couple of days ago and asked, okay, what do we do? Like, they are calling to know
Okay.
what's next
What they
way
can
of
do to
option is.
remedy
And the
the
federal government
situation.
in Yes, and the federal government in their normal egocentric mindset says, I think on Punch or some one of these papers, you are saying that they have to show remorse. It's not about showing remorse. They have to just discuss
Okay.
and come to the table, because livelihoods are are perishing rather because of this. So
Okay.
everybody has to lower their pride, come to an agreement. I won't
And
call it regulation, but I'll
yes.
call it more or less like an agreement as to what should be taken and what should not be taken, and understand each other. And I think we'll move on if the federal government will lower their ego.
You agree on that. That is great.
Yeah.
Going further, Mr. James, are you with us? Going
I'm
further,
here. I'm
I
listening.
will ask, with this whole suspension of ban of Twitter, do you think it has given room for indigenous microblogging platform? Is it the time for the youth to showcase their software development skills? Is it time for them to create indigenous uh, um, platforms that we can also utilize in Nigeria?
Yes, it is actually time for us to. But whether it is this time is what I do not agree with. It is time
Okay,
for us to go into further technological advancement. Yes, it is.
okay,
But whether this is the right time to do it, like I saw somewhere a certain celebrity was sharing links to a new app, and I was like, wow,
Wow.
really? Yes, that was just my expression. Is this actually the right time to do this? The reason is that now what they do to one is what they will do to all. It doesn't matter that it is
Okay.
Twitter. What we are against is the fact that somebody wants to ban or suspend the use of social media to make communication. It's not about
Okay.
growing indigenous technology. Yes, in
Yes.
fact, it is even going to be worse if it is to be an indigenous technology. Assuming Twitter had their office in Abuja, DSS would have gone there in the style we are used to.
Yes.
Burnt down the place tomorrow. We will hear that some boys, hoodlums, burnt down the office. So the reason why it looks like we're even safe today, some of us are using so many things to get there, is that why
Yes.
even the guy Jack is tweeting, still has life to tweet is because he's not here. First of
Okay.
all, we can actually grow our indigenous technology, but this is not the right time. Until the government has to understand that, see, we have a right to do this. And can we actually grow indigenous technology when we cannot even provide regular data? Now, if the rain comes right now from your end or from my end, one of us will be off.
Yes.
So we need to have certain things in place to even get to that point where we say, yes, we need to grow indigenous
Okay.
technology. Do we have
Yeah.
power? Do we have data? What do we have to do this? Uh,
Yes.
Nothing, actually. What we can do now is to grow the ones we have, emulate them, study them, and see how we can improve. But this is actually not the right time, but we can do that. I don't know if you got
Yeah. But
my
I
point.
think I understand, but I also think that the youths or other people should not deter in trying to create their own indigenous microblogging platform. It's also important because we are growing and we are getting better. That's my own belief. Casey, do you think that the recent move by Twitter to move their regional headquarters to Ghana is you know, is one of the reasons why our government did what they did.
No, no, no. That's just by the way. But I'll tell you. First of all, I'll address this issue in two ways. Firstly,
Okay.
I've said it times that number from the NSAS thing to my mind what they are showing us until they prove. They are trying to tell us that they just want to keep us short. Yeah,
Okay.
that's just the truth. It's not about that. But however, let me now address that. If in the thoughts of the government, one of the reasons why they decided to do this ban is because of setting up in Ghana. Let's look at Nigeria as it stands now, right?
Okay.
Nigeria as it stands now, companies are leaving for crying out loud. I could mention at the moment, I was going through some stuff recently. I heard that some Nigerian indigenous countries are even trying to move to Ghana. You know why? I'll give you three major reasons.
Okay.
Shoprite is out of Nigeria already. Hope you know that. The name Shoprite is everywhere, but Shoprite, the persons who actually brought Shoprite to Nigeria, the actual ownership they've left. They've sold off the assets to what they call the asset of Shoprite to private owners in Nigeria, and they've packed ship. They've left the country. Now you have so many companies too. You have the price. You understand? I
Okay.
don't know if you know about the price. The price has left.
Yes.
The original owners of it sell at. I don't.
Yes.
They've also transferred their ownership right to in these individuals and also left. Now, what's the reason why some of aside from these other countries, there are some reputable countries that are going to Ghana for two major
Okay.
reasons. At the moment, three major reasons. At the moment, Nigeria, the devaluation of the currency is too fast. It is happening at a very, very rapid rate. One. Secondly, insecurity. The
Mm.
insecurity is terrible. James was talking about it now. If you kidnap like three people for Twitter, staff of Twitter. You know how much it is? Kidnappers are there waiting for you. Are you
Yes.
getting it? Is it herdsmen? So is the country even safe? Right? Two. Then number three, Ghana. I just read recently that Ghana, the government of Ghana is giving 15 years tax, what they call it, tax
Holiday.
free, yeah, tax
Holiday.
holiday. I
That's
read
all
that
we
thing.
do.
That 15 years tax holiday for companies to come into their country. And you're telling me, if you know what is happening, you know that there is no herdsmen terrorizing them in Ghana. In Ghana, you know that there is no issue of IPOB or Oduduwa or this in Ghana. You know that they're having tax, and you know that power, which is even the one of the ones
Sponsors.
that irritates me more. There is power, there is light. Almost, I don't know, I can't be specific now, but I know that their power is 100 times better than ours. And you know that we're talking about a microblogging site that needs power
Right.
from day to night, 247. Just place your cards on the table. Do we deserve to have them? No. Capital
No.
no. So it is not to be sentimental about it. You understand? So personally, when it
Well,
happened, I
I
wasn't
think
I, I wasn't sentimental about it. So the truth is that they
yeah.
went there for these reasons. But if the federal government is unhappy because of that, I think I don't think they are serious-minded persons. That's just my point of view. They are not serious-minded persons.
Yeah, okay, Mr. James, with the use of a virtual private network, that's a VPN, people can still access Twitter. And we have heard the warnings that who have violated the order will be prosecuted, you know. So, what's your take on this?
You know, I read that and I laughed. First of all, you want to prosecute somebody for signing on to an app you have suspended. First,
Okay,
these are legal issues, first of all. It's not an emotional issue,
okay,
they are legal issues.
yes,
The statement that you are going to prosecute them is first yearning for an answer under which law. Now, if you go through the
okay,
Cyber Crimes Act, there is nothing in that law that suggests that they
that's
use
yes, supposed to, yeah,
that
combination,
they use, because we need to look at the use. It's not what I do there,
okay,
but just that the use of the app is not an offense under our laws. So
okay,
you do not make laws by order, by executive fiat. These are not the days of suspension or and modification of
or
the
executive order,
constitution.
or just the military
Yes,
order
or
and
decrees.
decrees.
So these are not the times. An attorney general or whatever he's called cannot just stand up and tell us that you will be prosecuted. For you to be prosecuted in this country, you need to the offense had to be named. There must be a punishment, and the ingredients of the offense
Yes,
must be known. So it's not by my signing onto their site that I have committed an offense. And like I said earlier, we don't even have any tracking data to know that if I tweet now, that I'm tweeting from Nigeria, because I could have my biography reading that I'm tweeting from South Africa. So you need to prove that I'm tweeting from this country. I'm not from anywhere else. Is there anything to prove? They are just making a mess of our common sense. There is nothing to trace anybody tweeting from anywhere. There is nothing to prove that I am even tweeting from outside Nigeria. Well, first of all, is the law. Is there any law banning me from tweeting using any app? Even if I don't use the Twitter app, if I sign in through any other means, there is no law banning me. There is no punishment for my use of Twitter. What we had were just people yelling out emotional state their emotions on issues of law. So there is nothing that concerns that should bother a person using the VPN or any other means to tweet. He cannot
access
do
media
anything. We cannot do anything on that until a law is properly promulgated or enacted by the National
or
Assembly,
enacted.
not by the executive, not by the minister. The National Assembly has to
You have to
sit and
go
make
through
a
the
law.
process.
Yes. So that is why I found that very laughable coming from the Attorney General of the Federation. Anyway, it is also said in some quarters that he has recanted that part of his statement. So I
Yes,
guess he has
yes, I
found
know.
time to read the Constitution to find out that you can't just make
There was
those
nothing.
type of statements.
Okay. Okay, Casey. Do you think the other ways the government could have use to vent their anger or their displeasure over Twitter other than banning? Are there ways the government could have gone about this whole issue rather than banning Twitter?
Yes, even though I mentioned it a little bit, I will still repeat it. Dialogue. Contact the management of Twitter, have them sit down on the table and have them say, okay,
Yeah.
now you took down our posts. This you did not even communicate with us and everything. Can you at least apologize for doing that without knowing, or we take you off our space? Like, you see, I don't even, the most important, what I just feel is there wasn't any dialogue and you did not take into consideration the masses. To be sincere with you, this scenario is like you see a snake, right, rolling on your elbow, and instead of using a stick to beat out the snake, or you to take a machete and cut off your elbow. That is just what they did to us. Like, you have an issue on ground, but you forget that in pushing that issue, you're also destroying livelihoods. So you did not think, you just acted out of your arrogance and your egoistic mindset. So I feel dialogue would have been the best way. Discuss with them and have
Okay.
an agreement with them that you're using our space, you're making a lot of money from this country, right? So as much as you're making a lot of money from this country, you should at least have the sincerity to allow us to communicate. And if you feel our communication is inappropriate, before you take down our post, contact us, find a way of contacting us. We can even take down our post ourselves, right? Because I'll give an
Okay.
example. If the federal government says, please, subsequently, if you feel that any of our posts breach your terms and conditions or agreements, feel free to contact us first, discuss with us, so that let us take down the post ourselves to save our respect, to save our face, than take it down. That's a very, very good way. And it's
Okay.
situation, in this situation, if they communicated and Twitter said, okay, fine, please, can you just take down the post so we don't embarrass a government like you for giving
Okay.
us access. And these are things, because as a matured mind, you cannot throw away a baby with the bathwater, for crying out loud. You understand? And that is just what they've done to us by restricting us from speaking. So that's what I feel they would have done in terms of
Okay.
dialogue.
Yeah.
And just to add one more thing, as regards the
Okay.
prohibition.
So James, do you think
Okay,
uh,
continue.
there are
Continue. Don't worry.
hello Casey?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah,
I say
thank you for
continue.
that opinion.
Wow.
Yeah. Are you with me now?
Yes, we are with
Yes,
you.
yes, we're here.
Yeah. So James, what is the socio-economic impact of Twitter ban in Nigeria? What's the socio-economic impact of Twitter ban in Nigeria?
Now, so for let me use one word.
Hello,
It
James?
is enormous. It is enormous. The
Okay, you didn't
Twitter
get my
ban in
question.
Nigeria. Yes, I got your
Okay.
question. Yes, the Twitter
Yes.
ban in Nigeria is enormous. Economically, it affected every part of us because there are
Okay.
individuals, first of all, who do online businesses, who do
Okay.
online teachings, who probably have online meetings on that app.
Yes.
Now, for the period they are unable to access the site, they are losing out economically for individuals. For corporate bodies also who reach out to their clients, their customers, who use the site for any form of business transaction, even if it is teaching, like we are
Okay.
doing now, we want to teach students from every part of this world, and our platform is Twitter. Now, it means I can no longer access them. It means I can't carry on my legitimate business. It means I can't advise my clients. I can't have meetings online using the Twitter app. So individuals and corporate bodies are affected. We can't advertise. For those who run advertising agencies, They can no longer use the app, so they have to spend extra money looking out for other sources of advertising their businesses and their goods or reaching their customers or their clients. Now, when we come back here, it's
Yes.
also affecting even the telecom companies because, like when I was talking about the issue of the Twitter ban on the other question you asked earlier, what we do, the only
Yes.
transaction we have with Twitter is that we buy data and sign into their site. We don't have any other business with them. We don't have any way. That's why I said it's impossible to regulate them. Now, the period where this ban is on, if I used to recharge, let's say, 10,000 gig a month to sign into Twitter
Okay.
app, I don't have to sign that,
Yes.
do that again. So I won't buy data again from MTN or from
For
Glow or
that.
from any of these people to do that because I
Yes.
don't have a reason to do that. The platform has been
Yes.
restricted. I can't access it
So
again. So even for the telecom
yes.
companies doing businesses here, they are also losing because every day we buy data from them. They pay taxes
Yes.
on the data and on the recharge cards we buy.
Yes.
So they pay taxes to the federal government. Federal government is also losing because the number of the 40 million people
Yeah.
who should have been buying data every day to go engage in banks online or to follow one trending issue online no longer buy data. And
Mm.
those companies are also losing resources, which they will in turn pay taxes to this federal or state government or pay their staff. Because
Okay.
all around is
Yeah.
a chain of loss, is a chain of loss to
That has
individuals, to the
affected every
companies.
sector.
Yes, and to the government that will be receiving taxes on every data you buy, every data I buy, the recharge cards I buy, all of them are losing. We are all losing. The government is also losing. So apart from the right to expression, we are losing economically on all sides. The government can pretend that they are not, but they are. Because in this last almost 2 weeks, how many people have been buying data to go and do all the things we do on Twitter? The number would have ordinarily reduced. So the economic impact is going to be enormous. We may not be bold enough to admit it, but it
Okay.
is. It is.
Yes. That's great. That's great because we see that social media is social media is a proven means of economic growth. So or the other affected the economy of Nigeria one way or the other. So Casey, lastly, do you think that the image of to the outside world has been impugned kind of? What's your thought on this? With what
Okay,
has
say the image
happened,
of
what is
okay.
our image outside there?
I'll be very candid with you. Our image as a country is one that is already, if not pronounced, heading towards a dispensation of dictatorship, right? Because when free speech, when you start, freedom of expression is a very, very key rights, right, in the constitution, is an inalienable right. There are some rights that are inalienable, whether or not it is
Yes,
written, like it is, just like James was talking about when you're born, it is part of the soul. So
yes,
when people view us, they're like, oh, these people are already a dictatorial nation, because
okay,
whenever they open their mind to say anything, something happens. Whenever someone talks, DSS goes to pick them up. So I feel this is even going to worsen the case, because
the case.
for even the chief prosecutor of this country telling us that
Yeah.
we will be prosecuted if we go on Twitter to tweet, and having the effrontery to commit the same crime, in quotes, because there's no crime like that. It doesn't exist in law.
Okay,
It is not, you cannot prosecute somebody for an offense that is unwritten. That's what section 7 and deactivate his account using VPN. breaching his own law, right? It even makes it makes the whole the people will laugh at us. Someone was like saying okay, so I just hope and pray that somehow the federal government and Twitter comes into a consensus and redeems our image, because it is laughable to say the least. You understand? People just feel that this country is now a dictatorship because of what is happening at the moment. And I just also want to also add that as time goes on, the only thing that will make us restore our image is when we have a government who listens to the people, and it will attract companies to come here, because the country is becoming so what do you call it, is becoming so uncomfortable that a couple of days ago I was watching a video where I saw influx of
Yes.
persons at the airports, in the Abuja International Airport, leaving, massively leaving the country. So if Nigerians at the moment are running away from their country, how much more the outside world coming down here to do business? You understand? So that is not a good image. So I just pray and hope that very soon we'll have a government that will be democratic, because I don't feel the whole world looks at us as a democracy anymore. That's the sad truth.
Yeah.
Hello, Mesa, are you there? Or Mr. James, maybe you can add something on this issue so that why she comes on back online, yeah?
Yes, I've been looking at, you see, this is exactly the reason why it's so impossible to make an argument for this government. Sometimes when
Yes.
they turn out policies that seem so unreasonable, it makes it very difficult for you to argue in their favor. Ordinary network, some of us can't access from for as long as 20 years that we've been using
So,
a
friends,
telecommunication medium. So we still do not have
yeah,
a very strong telecom system. So it's bad. Messi
yeah.
is back.
It's all well. The network has been not been too fair, but we thank God for everything. I must appreciate honoring our invitation and for sharing your thoughts on Twitter ban and its legal effect in Nigeria. Not also not just the legal effect, the socio-economic impact.
I think the network is back again, right?
Yes, the network is having small issue, especially from her end. Seems that place is
Yes.
the network is
It
bad.
could be that it's raining. And
Yes,
it could be that it's raining and then the network is off again. Back to what I was saying about the government being able to regulate the internet space. When you have problems like this, you do not have a physical address to complain, you know. And if you do not have a physical address where you could go to make your complaint, you do not have a way of regulating. You can't actually regulate what is beyond you. Now,
yes,
aside the data that we buy, what other transactions do we do with Twitter? We don't do any
nothing.
other thing, nothing. So it's like somebody giving you his uh, his space to come and talk to your people. I have a phone and I want you to use it to speak to your friends. You can't tell me that I should not tell that your friend what to say to me. So it's just a space that we have. It's just a space that we have until until we are able to have a better system to demand something different. we do not have the right to do so. If Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram all decide to leave us, where do we go back to? To the stone ages of writing letter.
It will be
So
terrible.
is, like you were saying, imagine how the international community will be looking at us. Nobody wants to come and invest in a country where they cannot have a means of uh,
Communication.
disagreeing disagreeing with the government. So
Yeah.
once platforms where I can engage the government it does not exist, is stifled, is monitored, is regulated, I'll be afraid to do business or do any sort of transactions in such a country. Mercy,
Exactly.
welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. The network has not been so friendly, but thank you, thank you. So thank you all. I appreciate
Thank you too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much.
We understand. We're all here.
Yes, so the truth is that this just buttresses the point you are making. You understand?
Yes,
You don't,
yes,
you're not even able to regulate little glitches as regards network in your country. You're now trying to regulate a corporation that did not originate from your country. You do not know his history. You're benefiting from the same corporation. You use its space to pass
space.
across your messages and all that stuff. So you just have to dialogue. There's nothing else you can do. Is to go into a dialogue and lower your pride. Yeah. Even Trump himself tried to get them out of the space, but he couldn't.
Of
So it
course.
doesn't. It shows you
yeah.
that if anything you want to do as regards that, you have to do it the right way because it's unconstitutional, even the way the government did it.